What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've been playing XDefiant for a while now, as you guys already know, and there's one thing that is really standing out to me across pretty much every single, portion of this game, whether you want to think back to the alphas, the betas, or even the full-fledged release of XDefiant. These developers have been nailing something that I personally think is just outstanding. Of course, this is all personal preference, so I want to know what you guys think down in the comments section. But I want to further discuss what these developers have done and, show my appreciation for how they handled this stuff. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and dive deep, if you guys are interested in more content just like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. We post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern Time, and we are now officially on the grind to 49,000 subscribers, and eventually we will indeed reach 50K. I cannot wait, and it seems like this community is getting stronger and stronger every day that goes by. So, of course, if you guys are interested, you want to see some more stuff just like this, subscribe and hit that bell. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out any of my live streams, I will be live today over on Twitch between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We kind of mix in XDefiant and also the body cam as well. Sorry, I almost forgot the exact name. I've been really having a good time on body cam, I gotta be honest with you guys. And I'll be real, actually, I don't know. Is today the mid-season event for Season 4? God, I haven't kept up with Call of Duty in ages, so I don't know. If it's the mid-season event for Season 4, I'll probably play COD today. If not, it's going to be a mix of XDefiant, body cam, regardless. If you guys want to check that stuff out, I got a link to my Twitch channel down below. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, today I wanted to go ahead and discuss something very specific, and that is the weapons in XDefiant. Now, typically, every single time I play any FPS game, there is always a horrible, and when I say horrible, I mean horrible balancing problem, where basically 1 to 2 guns absolutely outshine every gun that is possibly in the game, making everything irrelevant, and it takes months and months and months until the development teams can finally polish things off and get things on a roll. I will be honest, Modern Warfare 3 is probably the best that we've seen out of Call of Duty when it comes to managing weapons, because they pretty much balanced everything out within the first patch. But let me tell you guys something about XDefiant. Every single day that goes by, I use everything. I absolutely adore every weapon within this game. Now, I will say, I do believe some guns should be tweaked, like maybe the shotgun category, even though, I'll be honest, now that I see people with actual leveled up shotguns, it seems like they hit pretty good. What do you guys think? Go down in the comment section and let me know, because I haven't tried any of the shotguns, I'll be real. All my shotguns are level 1 right now. I've been focusing on ARs, SMGs, LMGs, and some of the marksman rifles. So I haven't really tried the shotties, but I see Blame Truth rocking the AA-12, and that thing looks absolutely disgusting. And I see people, bee-hopping all around in my lobbies with the pump action, pumping me from a decent, distance away. And it seems, moderately consistent with attachments, of course. I don't know, though. So like I said, fill me in down in the comment section. But, maybe tweaks to that. And obviously in the AR category, there are a couple of weapons, the M4 and the MDR. Those guns, to me personally, feel kind of useless. They're fun, don't get me wrong. The M4 is much better than the MDR, and I like the M4 because it's actually a beam machine. But when it comes to hit markers, it's just not worth it when you have to verse a bunch of competitive players. Same thing with the MDR, it's a great gun, but realistically, it just can't compete against demon machines, such as the AK, an ACR, or, of course, the M16. And then when you match up the MDR in up-close and quarter, engagements where it should be shining, it can't outgun SMGs either. The Vector outclasses it severely up close, obviously because of the fire rate. MP5 outclasses it, MP7, P90. So yeah, the MDR and the M4 probably are the least consistent weapons for me, and those should be tweaked as well. But when I tell you that is everything, that is freaking everything. I love all the guns across the board. All the marksman rifles absolutely slap. They destroy. The sniper rifles are still disgusting even after them getting nerfed with the flinch. The ARs, literally, like I said, the AK, ACR, and M16, all fantastic choices. And I highly believe that the developers will probably buff up the M4 and MDR later down the road, which will make them fantastic choices as well. I hope they don't end up nerfing a bunch of the guns in the game. I really hate when that happens. When instead of, just getting everything else buffed up to match the metas, they just basically nerf everything else. And, the current meta is trash now. And then, they obviously make a new meta by buffing up the other weapons that were, previously trash. Now they're currently... I just hope they keep the current weapons the same and just buff up the other rifles to make them, fit their categories a little bit better. If they want the MDR to compete with SMGs, you gotta buff it in some way, shape, or form to make it actually compete a bit better. If you want the M4 to compete with other ARs, it needs a little bit of a tweak so it can keep up with the other ARs. But that's it. And I'm sure they're going to go ahead and do that. But everything, and I mean everything, is phenomenal. ARs, the SMGs, I love them all. I love all the SMGs. The MP5, the MP7 is a beaut. The P90 is gorgeous. And the Vector. The Vector is so freaking slept on in this game. And I think it's because people always try to hyper-focus it as like kind of like a mid-range weapon where they'll deck it out with maybe some recoil attachments, maybe a little bit of range, and they'll try to mix in, close engagements with long engagements when it just, you can make it work, trust me. But in a competitive environment with people really good who can shoot back and nail their shots, you want to keep that sucker up close and personal. The fire rate is what helps the Vector really, really freaking thrive. Anything past medium range, it's going to turn into a pea shooter, and you're going to feel like you're doing nothing, and you're going to get turned on 24/7. But if you keep that sucker up close and personal, it just shreds. I will gladly take on a challenge with a shotgun player, which I would typically avoid. Even with an SMG, I still try to give a bit of distance so I can, win those engagements. Nah. With a Vector, put them point blank with me. I'll gladly engage with them. The gun is just a demon. I love them. All the LMGs, every single LMG in this game just shreds. Shreds, I say. The RPK is just a better version of the AK, in my personal opinion. It's awesome. And it has a fast reload time, so on and so forth. It basically gives you all the benefits of an AR with the damage of an LMG, as long as you deck it out accordingly. And then, of course, the M2, as we all know, the M249 is already meta right now. I'm sure that's going to catch a nerf because it's a little too consistent of an LMG. It's basically like an LMG that works as an AR, but it has no AR attributes. It looks like an LMG. It feels like an LMG. It has the rounds of an LMG, but it literally works like a fast-paced AR, which is a little bit strange. I'm sure it's going to get changed up a little bit, but still, it's a demon. And then the M60, probably my personal favorite LMG because of its consistency. For anybody that doesn't know, the M60 doesn't have any damage drop-off, so basically it has a consistent damage rate across the board, no matter where your enemies are. And let me tell you something, landing shots with the M60 and getting consistent kills feels so freaking rewarding. But again, another weapon that absolutely shreds and demolishes. This is the preseason, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to remind everybody of this. This is the preseason. Okay? They haven't had to do one tuning update realistically besides messing with the sniper rifle and obviously the recoil bug for the MDR blueprint that you get in the final battle pass tier. That's all they worked on, and I feel like the weapon balancing is still phenomenal. I use everything. I don't feel like I have to be forced into any type of role, any type of play style. If someone's using an AK or an ACR, it doesn't make me feel like I can't use an M16 or a Vector or an MP7, or if I want to pull out an LMG, I can use whatever I want whenever I want, and it works nicely. And you know what? I really do believe that this other factor, I wasn't going to mention this in today's video, I was just going to discuss the weapons, but if you really think about it, I feel like this other factor plays a huge role in why the weapons feel so good as well, and that is the map design. If I'm going to be real, not only did they nail all the beginning, weapons to have them balanced out so nicely before launch, but they also nailed all the map designs too. I mean, the worst map, in my personal opinion, is probably Mayday, and I still enjoy it. It's really OBJ dependent on what, game mode you get on that map. If you get in TDM, it's going to be a nightmare. Hot shot, it's probably going to be rough and stuff like that. You can still get some good spawn traps. I get good matches on Mayday regardless, and the funny thing about it is I would still take Mayday over some of the worst maps ever introduced into Call of Duty. I will still take Mayday over pretty much all of those, right? It's not like bad, but I will say it's heavily lopsided. For example, like on Domination, if you are attacking the nose side, you are at a massive disadvantage. You have to run across an open field 24/7, and 9 times out of 10 when I push on the nose side, I just end up, cutting on the right side and just trying to flank because it's no point. The rest of the field is completely open and easy to get, sniped upon. And then obviously if you spawn on the tail end of the plane, you get to walk right into it. You're in the plane. You spawn literally like 5 steps away from the plane. So yeah, I'll admit Mayday is a bit rough, but all the other maps, man, are ridiculously good. I mean, I love them all, and it's never a point where I'm looking at a bunch of maps, I'm like, oh god, this map again, get me out, get me out, get me out. I only say that if I have to play it more than once, because as you guys know, I love variety. I love playing all different types of maps. I love playing with all different types of weapons, so variety is key for me personally. But, if I play a map too many times, I don't want to do it again. I want to play something different. So yeah, I might back out if that's the case. But I'm not, even like I said, even with Mayday, I never back out. I just stick it through because I still have a really good time playing it. And you know what? Those maps, they're designed so well that pretty much every playstyle of every weapon is allowed on these things. Even maps like Dumbo, for example. I think Dumbo is a masterpiece, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. It gives every player a playstyle to enjoy the game. You can coast between the buildings indoors and even around B flag with the SMG. You can roam the outskirts with an LMG or a sniper rifle, and also in the middle of the map, you can still form an LMG or sniper rifle angle, especially if your team is going to coordinate and actually help you and defend you in a certain spot. You could really hold down some lines of sight. Everybody's welcome. Shotgunners, everybody's welcome on Dumbo. And this goes for pretty much every map I could think of. Even freaking Arena, one of the smallest maps in the game, still has so much variety. I can run and gun with an SMG and, maneuver through all the, the crooks and crannies of the map. I can go to the outskirts and hold the head glitches and cover middle and, either left or right side with an LMG or sniper rifle. I can play an AR and I can, hold mid and beam people from mid-range while they're coming out of their spawn. Like I said, these maps are designed so well that it really highlights all the weapons in the game. I don't feel like I'm forced to use anything in particular. Besides, on some maps, I do. On some maps, I do, and depending on the game mood, I do. But the mass majority of them, I feel like I can use whatever I want and still have a really enjoyable experience. But ladies and gentlemen, the whole purpose of this video is to just state, basically, that this is, amazing. Because typically, in a lot of these games, we have to mix fixing the meta and balancing out weapons and making sure that, that broken part of the game gets fixed alongside, things like, for example, with XDefiant, netcode, and hitreg. But that's not the problem this time around, and usually it takes months and months and months for a game to get to a normal spot. But XDefiant is progressing much quicker than other titles, and it's only in preseason. I feel like by Season 1, we're already going to have enough changes to, the netcode and hitreg that it feels, good enough. Like, for me personally, I definitely do not get shot around walls as much as I used to. And when I do, it's not as extended. It's much closer when it happens. A few more tweaks, and I feel like it's going to be on point. I'm not going to have many complaints. Obviously, a few hitreg problems here and there, but it's much better compared to day one. They have been doing good changes, and it's because the majority of their focus can be prioritized on those changes, and also massive bug problems, like the recent problem where, if you're meleeing too much, I believe this was the cause. If you melee too much and you die, you get caught in this, perma stage where you can't shoot, aim, punch, run, any of that stuff. That got fixed basically instantly. They obviously put out an emergency patch, and they had a bunch of developers stay overtime throughout the weekend to put it together, which again, I really appreciate it, but still, the point being made is that they are able to do this because they don't have many balancing problems to worry about. Maybe, factions, and I hope that we see some faction changes within Season 1. I'm going to put together a video of all the changes I want to see in the next big, massive XDefiant patch. I think we will see some changes to them, but realistically, they have been just able to hyper-focus and nail down really bad core issues to polish off the overall experience and make it run just so much better. And, I'm just happy about that. That's it. That's all. I'm just shocked that they're able to get a game out with balancing good across the board with, again, minor things here and there, but typically I love to run everything. All LMGs, all the ARs basically besides a couple. SMGs, every single one of them across the board. The snipers are fun. Marksman rifles are really enjoyable. They feel good. They're fun to shoot. Obviously, a few consistency problems need to be fixed up with them, but, overall balancing, they're kind of fun to play around with. Overall, seriously, all the developers who worked on XDefiant, you guys did a really solid job with what, you did here. And to me personally, it shows that you play the game. You play it. You use these things. You know these things. You mess around with all this stuff. You know what's overpowered. You know what's not overpowered. And like I said, I trust them completely to balance out the rest of this game because it seems like they are confident enough to do so because they know what their game is about. But, ladies and gentlemen, as always, go down in the comment section, leave your opinions down below, and if you enjoyed today's video, like it up if you really want to, and, obviously, as always, if you hated it, if you despise it, if you just can't stand my content, but for some reason you still click on it, by all means, hit that dislike button. It's, whatever you want to do. But guys, don't forget, if you want to be notified for more content just like this, subscribe and hit that bell. We post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern time. Also, if you want to check out any of my live streams, I live stream pretty much daily besides Sundays over on Twitch. I got a link to that down in the description of this video. And, I have a few other socials as well, like Twitter and Discord. Things that I don't really use that much because I'm not really that into social media, obviously. But if you're interested in any of that stuff, I got links to pretty much everything down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.